Welcome to another video, everyone. This may be the one you've been waiting for. We're going to be looking at some gameplay here of an air game that I did, and we're going to talk about how air players can strategize and just some of the things that I like to look at as an air player. So this is going to be my very first actual air guide. You may have seen my sarcastic air guide. That was more of a joke than anything else. I was done on the forge. Anyway, this is going to be a real air guide, and you can see here I asked to buy a single con, which is a decent option. Now the reason being for buying a con that is a bot con would be to limit the amount of danger I have with a fighter coming in to knock down one of my air cons. Single fighter can be sent across the map to attack the air player and kill their construction con, and that can be a little bit of a pain because the air cons take a lot of build power to produce. They take almost as much build power as a factory themselves, so it's a little bit of a process. Now you see I'm over here, I am building a fighter as well, and this fighter is going to go straight towards the enemy's base. Also keep in mind, this is not a build order. Okay, I'm not saying you have to do this in order to play well. You can choose to not go after the enemy with a fighter. You can choose to just wait to build fighters. You could move your comm down to collect mexes if you want. You could build a transport first right off the bat. That might have been a better decision. There's all sorts of opportunities to change what actually is done in the game. This is not supposed to be a build order. This is supposed to be showing you how you should be thinking when it comes to playing air. Okay, just want to clarify that. All right, so we got our fighter, and we're getting some more wind power up. Our con is finally ready for us. We are getting our scout. The scout's gonna do a flyby, double checking on how it's going on the enemy's side as far as air goes. So he is going to be doing some plans here, doing a flyover, getting a good scouting of all of the enemy bases as far as he can anyway, and then he's going to try to come back. And we scouted a few ticks as well, so we want to get those guys. Now this is something risky that I did that I do not recommend new players doing, and it actually turned out really bad for me, and that was an early bomber. When I was talking to some of my viewers, they were like, hey, you should try an early bombing run. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It ended up turning out really badly for me. So where's my scout at right now? My scout is... well, why am I not getting from my view? There he is. Okay, my scout's right here. He's getting ready to get vision. Right now we don't really know exactly what's happening yet. And then my bomber just came out. I also have my con and a transport coming out. The transport is going to be going to airlift to the next metal extractor, and then also to this metal extractor. So this is just to speed up the process so he doesn't walk so slowly. That will help get my mexes up a little bit faster. All right, so we got scout coming over, and we do see he's building fighters, and I take note of that because that means I'm going to have to send some fighters with my bomber. And so I have one fighter, and that was a terrible mistake. I should have waited to get like 4 or 5 fighters, but I decided to go greedy. So I set my fighter in, and this was a terrible bombing run, to be honest. Let's go ahead and speed this up here. So it got spotted way early, which was bad. My fighter got shot down already, and then we got a bomb here. We took out some of green stuff and we hit a little bit of blue, but it was a little bit late on the drop, so we didn't really get much of blue's stuff here. So you can see I got one mechs and I got a bunch of windmills. So that's not the best value, right? It would have even been better if I gone for eco, and it would have been a lot better if I sent a couple more fighters before throwing the bomber out. I end up spamming some fighters and realizing, man, we might need some sherries as well. So we got all of our mechs is produced, so now we're just going to work on energy production and build power. And we're also going to get our fighters in a guard pattern where they are patrolling this area. So with the patrols, I want to mention something important. When you're patrolling, it's very important to stay a little bit behind the front line so that you don't get hit by anti-air. Anti-air can reach a little bit further than most other weapons, and if you're riding your patrol right across the front line here, they could have whistlers that could shoot you down. They could have a couple, you know, anti-air batteries, who knows. And you just need to be cautious not to waste your resources of fighters flying over. So just be aware of that. So we're trying to get energy going, but we're at 1-2 wind power, so this is just stalling like crazy. I end up just going for a solar panel or two because of how slow it's going. Anyway, we have a bomber that somehow got through. No one yelled at me, said, hey, we have a bomber. No one said anything. There was no pinging, so he got a couple bombs off on our allies there, which is too bad. But it wasn't terrible, you know, a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Wind speed's picking up again. We have plenty of air still, plenty of fighters to help guard the skies. And we are looking to get our T2 soon. Atomic Skull just finished the T2 factory, so I will be paying for that relatively soon. You can see I have 1,000 metal stored up, which is a lot. So I just paid, and I'm gonna get that T2 as quick as I can because I want to upgrade these mexes ASAP. The mexes are gonna be huge. I'm also building energy storage so that my transition will be easier into T2. I don't want to be stalling on energy, and I want to get a lot of energy stored up if I can. Oh, another bomber snuck in because we didn't have vision or we weren't told, you know, hey, there's a bomber. No one pinged it, I don't believe. Yeah, so it was kind of a problem. Poor Atomic Skull got a couple of his stuff destroyed, and I lost a mechs or two, but it wasn't terrible. We're just keeping on spamming fighters. And obviously it would be good to have some Shuris out, but you know, at this point I'm a little bit behind because of the failed bombing run, and I just want to get my fighters up. And our economy is doing great, but our fighter wall is really minuscule. Excuse me. We have some seven fighters or so. That's not very many compared to the enemy, which has 5 fighters. Well, I guess, you know, we're beating them, but I don't feel like that's a good enough wall. You know, I was never really comfortable with the amount of fighters. So I had a transport. I was grabbing my con, bringing him over. This is the most important part, by the way. When you do get your con, you need to transport him over, get all of your build power on your mexes, and just prioritize mexes being upgraded as quickly as possible. So we got this one starting upgrade, and I'm just gonna pick up my con and get him over here just to save actions per minute. So while these guys are building this mechs, actions per minute are spent on getting this set up to be upgraded. So yeah, this is all just a little bit of a slower process because you're just waiting on mexes to be upgraded. I should be spamming fighters still. I don't know why I turned that off. That was a mistake. Anyway, once our mexes get upgraded, we really start cranking out metal. So then we transported our guy down here again as well, transported our commander over. There wasn't really any like big concerns going on here. I mean, there was some issues over here. Yes, I remember. So I ended up building a couple of Shuris rather soon. Don't remember if that was now or later, but it should be relatively soon. Fighters, I think I cancel that and go Shuris. I should anyway. Should definitely go Shuris. Yep, here they come. 5 Shuris. And these end up being really, really useful. As they push through it, it's quite a dangerous deal right here. Thankfully, he got off the D-gun. They end up having some whistlers, so I got a couple of my planes shot down there, and that's not good. I end up changing my pattern a bit. You can see I'm going diagonal now so that I don't get hit from those whistlers. And I just have my Shuris, they're just going to sit here to protect. But I also need to focus on energy production. And so I am pumping out a fusion reactor here. Fusion reactor is going to like solidly get me T2. Now, I made a mistake here. I should not have gone for this factory. It's just too much energy. I should have gotten my fusion up first and then gone for the factory, but that's a small mistake. It just matters a little bit, you know. So keep in mind that when you're doing it, prefer to try to go fusion first before getting your factory up, just because you're wasting energy at that point. So now we're focusing all BP on the fusion. And we have how many fighters? We only have 7 fighters still, which is not great. I think we're starting to get overwhelmed with fighters. Yeah, they have 10 compared to our 7. Which is risky. And I think we end up paying for it here rather soon. Where's his factory? He is still doing eco. Very similar to us. Okay, let's go ahead and speed this process up a bit. Ooh, that was a good kill on the front there. So we got our first fusion up, and we also have our energy converter that was built. We go into T2 con, and this guy's gonna spam Aphis. Now, one nice thing about the T2 con here is the fact that it's a Cortex constructor, and they have cheaper Aphis. So you want to just slowly start producing Aphises as the eco player. You don't want to go too crazy, but it can help you scale faster than your enemy. We end up getting some value here with these Shuris, actually really good value. Stunning some of these raiders, and then also coming over here and stunning this whole group, which is fantastic. Now with Shuris, what I would recommend doing is grab them, press A, and then do an area attack. So do a left click drag, and they do very well if you do a left click drag. Okay. And that tells them to attack anything in this area. So they'll move from one stun target to the next. But if you just tell them to right click on a single unit, then they'll keep stunning that unit forever, rather than stunning all units in this area until they are done being stunned, or until they're like stop moving, right? So having the area drag attack is super valuable for Shuriken. I actually just figured that out because I'm not like an air main, right? I just figured out how to use the Shuriken properly on this game. So yeah, that's a big deal. Anyway, we got excellent kills on the Shuris here, shutting down that push, which is really valuable. Now, Blue is starting to mass produce fighters here, and he has a lot more than me at the moment. And I'm gonna start picking up my fighter production here pretty soon. Let me see. I would have preferred to start building them a little bit sooner. My eco, let's double check. I just want to double check my eco here. So we have Blue, who has 40, 50 metal income and 2,000 energy income. We got me with 100 metal income. Well, no, 50 still. Around 50 with 1,300. So he has a bit more eco than me at the moment. I think it's probably windmills, and he's cranking out bombers. He's getting ready to do a bomber run. And this is something that I was just getting set up to solve, because I have some T2 fighters coming out. He does not have any T2 yet, but this was a very sketchy play here. I would definitely crank out your T2 fighters a lot sooner than I did, because it was a real risk to my whole entire team that I was just so low on fighters still. I had a total of 16 plus, where's my T2 fighters? Plus like 3 T2 fighters, so it was just a bad deal, not nearly enough. And I have the metal for it. I have 3,000 metal. It's just the build power is what I'm struggling with. I should have put all of, at least put like maybe 5 con turrets on the T1 or the T2 factory, so that I was producing some. I end up building a couple wasps as well. I think I end up getting them out, maybe not, just because there's a lot of harassment here, so I'm trying to help cut down this harassment and be able to hold off. And I also have to kill spiders, and Shuris can't kill spiders, but wasps can. So I'm just prepping to deal with these spiders. I got 1 wasp. And we got pushes coming in on all sides. My goodness. And here's where I see the bombing run finally. And my fighters end up hitting and doing decent damage, but it's not quite enough. So we start hitting them, but I think we end up losing all of our fighters. So now I'm like, oh great, I have no fighters, and I'm just cranking out fighters as quick as I can. I should have put more and more on, and thankfully this guy had anti-air, but we still lost a lot from the bombers that did come in, and they end up wrecking all my build power. Yeah, it was a bad deal. Thankfully, they did not kill my fusion. That really saved me. If they had killed my fusion, I would have been toast. This guy was very, very valuable, because I just didn't have quite enough fighters to deal with it. And then we also have a bunch of spiders coming in, and I am kind of freaking out. I'm like, great, these spiders are gonna take over the whole place. I have to get something to defend against these spiders. But we just received such a massive hit, so we end up having to get our cons up, because we have 0 cons at this point, which is bad. Let's go ahead and speed up things a bit. We have a couple wasps that I bring in, and we're just praying they don't send another wave of fighters, because that would just wipe us again. And I gotta bring my comm down, because it looks like we're gonna lose this whole entire base. And we lose our entire canyon, which is just terrible. These wasps doing a little bit of damage. And this looks like a lost game, right? This is where a lot of people would give up. But we didn't really give up. We're gonna call the fact that we could win this, you know? So we're taking out the spiders. We're doing decent damage. I have a couple more wasps that I'm coming out with, and I'm just trying to increase my fighter wall. Thankfully, someone else also went for some fighters. I think, who was it? That also went for a couple fighters. I think it might have been orange. No, it wasn't orange. I thought for sure I had another teammate end up going fighters here. Anyway, so we're just trying to get our fighter production up, which we finally have it going. We have APHIS up, which gives us the metal we need, and we are producing. I end up building a bot lab because I want some of this metal. So I just come in and I start eating up all this metal so that we can continue producing. And his economy should be stronger than mine, which it probably is. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I have 370 income on metal, 400 energy, or 4,000 energy. And that's partially because I'm eating metal right now, so that's not really a good full way of looking at it. And then he's got 900 and 5,000, so he has about 1,500 energy more than me at the moment, and he has one APHIS. The difference is I don't think he's looking to scale quite as much as I am. So my plan is to scale infinitely, and I should be putting some more of these guys on my factory. Probably just set a couple conturrets on my factory, and that would have been better. But yeah, I am looking to outscale him as the game progresses. We got gunships on the front, getting ready to do damage wherever we can, and we end up seeing these spiders up here, so we take them out. Like, hey, spiders are really weak here, so we just set a fighter wall there to make sure they don't get gunned down for free, and then we get everyone going back to do what they should do. Thankfully, our eco player ended up getting a couple guys across the front here to defend, which is great. And yeah, this whole area got cleaned up. We got 2 APHISes now, and this is where we're going to start outscaling. I have 130 metal income. He has 100 metal income. I have 7,000 energy. He has 5,000, 6,000 energy, even though we got bombed. So I should be behind, but I'm actually ahead right now. Just because we're continuing the production. And we got a decent amount of fighters. We got a really good fighter wall. He has a really good fighter wall as well, but most of his is T1. He is just now going T2. So we are ahead of the game on the amount of weaponry that we have. Okay, and this is just really a scale game for me at this point, because my end game, I have an end game already planned on what I'm looking to do later. I just can't get there too soon. I have to wait for my economy to be catching up. So I'm going to start overflowing on metal, and that's my signal to build a lot more conturrets than I have. But we have a little bit of trouble here, so I'm just sending in some gunships, making sure that these guys aren't being too aggressive, and that we're able to hold them back. Thankfully we were. Just continuing to do a... I think I end up, yeah, putting them into a patrol pattern here, which is perfect. And we see some more fighters coming in here, and I see that pretty soon. I should be grabbing them soon. Oh wait, no, it's because I saw, oh no, this is the one where they juked me. So I got some of them, and then I realized, wait a second, there's fighters over here too. So I come in on both sides, and there's a bombing run that ends up killing our forward base here. And I try to get over there as quick as I can. I think they end up hitting a few of these buildings, although they don't kill anything too valuable. So we shoot them down in the nick of time, while only they destroy just energy conversion, which obviously sucks, but it's survivable, right? And we're ahead in the fighter game still. We have a lot. The only reason they were able to do that is due to the the juking that they did with 2 different fighter sets. And that is something you can try to do if one player ends up, or if you want to try to get a bombing run through, is push on one side with your fighters and then save the other side of fighters to push this side and try to do bombing run through. That can work, but if the other player is aware of that possibility, they might get shut down. You might get shut down. So we have a lot of metal here, so we're just trying to get more build power up, as you can see here, and we are getting our air pad. Now the reason why we're getting our air pad is because somewhere, I think I have, yeah, so there's our dragon. We got our first dragon out. This is just to help with ground defense. Dragons have 600 damage per second at maximum DPS, which is really, really incredible. And the air pad will help repair them automatically as soon as he gets down to around 30 HP. So, or 30% HP. We can see a big wall coming in here of enemies. My dragon ends up getting shot down here, I believe. I don't know where my dragon is though, to be honest. I think we missed it. But he ended up getting shot down a bit, which kind of just sucks. But we're holding on the front still. We're doing all right. Nothing too crazy. And we're building another factory because we are still overflowing on metal, which is crazy. So I decided, okay, since we're overflowing on metal so much, we need to get another factory out. We're going to have one producing attack, like ground attack, and one producing just fighters for defense. We still don't have like a ton of fighters, but we have a decent number compared to them. They have 30 fighters. We have 35, because I'm also producing T1 fighters. I don't find there to be a reason to turn off your T1 fighters, because you can just take hits with them. They're kind of like a little shield that you can soak up extra damage. And they're relatively cheap, especially for air, because air has so much extra metal income. We're just continuing our scale here, and we have control of our canyon, which is good. But at this point, our team is lower on metal, I think. Yep, we are a little bit, well, it's kind of back and forth, honestly. We have more energy income. So we are still ahead, even with the canyon being gone, which is kind of surprising. So we got some dragons out here just protecting the front as they were trying to do a push there earlier. And we got our cons coming in, eating up some of that juicy metal. Just continuing to produce massive amounts. And at this point, I'm at 300 energy, or 300 metal income. He is at 100 metal income. So we are like 3 times his metal production, which is absolutely game changing. We have another dragon. We got a total of 3, it looks like. We got 4 dragons total. They're also working on a Ragnarok, which was a sketchy play in my opinion. A little bit risky, but it ends up working out for him. So I decided to bring my dragons forward just to defend. I was like, okay, we'll just hold that Ragnarok, let them get that up too. My fighters ended up getting shot down a bit. And this is kind of where the game gets pretty easy. You just have to watch to see if there's anyone pushing you ever. And you just spam fighters, spam your end game plan, and, you know, call it from there. So this is where I have a ton of dragons now. I got, let me see, how many is this? I got 9 dragons, and these things are flying tanks. Absolutely insane. 10 dragons. 11 dragons. We're just cranking them out. So often what I'll try to do with dragons, if I'm not like fully confident that we have a ton more than the enemy, is I'll often fly my air into them first and make sure that I kill all their fighters. Okay, so it looks like they have a huge bombing run here. It just does not turn out for them. They all get shot down. And that's my cue. So they just failed their bombing run. And he's starting to do his artillery. But this is, my plan is, okay, they just shot all of their fighters and we beat them. We're pushing in with the Dragon Ball. We got a couple fighters. Anti-air is just going to do nothing to these dragons. And we are going straight for the air player. Absolutely directly towards his base because we want to take him down. The second that air becomes weak is my opportunity to win the game. Because air is the only thing that's going to counter my dragon push. So we got one guy done. We've got his whole base gone. And we're going to go for his commander here. And he is done for. Boom. Commander gone. All of his air completely destroyed. The main thing is we just had to survive, right? We had to just survive until we outscaled. And we end up hitting a lot of the economy here, which is great. We don't end up killing everything, but we did enough damage to hinder any progress that they will be trying to get later on. So now we just have to rebuild a bit. And, you know, we have fighter superiority guaranteed at this point. We're throwing in, we're just, you know, doing a little bit of defense on the front line, making sure that we have no T3 pushing in on us. The Ragnarok's firing away and not really getting the value it needs with all those shields there. But I know, okay, so I know that I have fighter superiority, so I can just push in with dragons anytime I want because of the amount of, the lack of fighters on the enemy team. And dragons are just really strong against any other units. So we got T3 pushing in here, and we can just help melt these T3 units down into nothing. Absolutely incredible value here, not even taking any damage, and shredded. Not to mention the fact there were a million pulsars. It was just a terrible place to push, and that means we get all that reclaim. And I decided, I believe I end up pushing into the canyon. That would have been the play if I didn't. Gonna go ahead and speed this up a little bit. We push in again. Oh, that's right. I end up taking out the front line here. There's a couple fighters, but it's not enough to like really shut me down. Because dragons have a little bit of anti-air on them, so they can handle a couple fighters. It's when there's a massive amount of fighters that is a problem. Pushing in. We got snipers following us up, which is awesome. Look at these flak cannons. They're trying to chip away at the dragons, but dragons are just so powerful. It basically just tickles them. Absolutely crazy. Destroying the entire front line. Boom, front line gone. And we move in. And we're looking for some eco damage here again. There it is. Good kills. We wipe a whole nother 2 bases. And so this is where, you know, you can find a way to end the game as air. A lot of games are ended through the air player, but you have to get to the point where you're scaled enough to do so. The only reason we're able to do this end game damage is because of our economy. Otherwise, we'd be just stuck trying bombing runs, which bombing runs work good, but the dragons just have that decent sustainability on the battlefield that bombers do not have, especially once you get into like anti-air and stuff. This guy goes nuts with his anti-air though, so there's no way I could even break into this. It's just too much. I mean, look at it. Look at him. The amount of anti-air this guy is building is crazy. He has seen the fate of others, and he is afraid. So yeah, look for opportunity if you are ahead. Basically, it's a balancing act. If you're ahead in economy and you're ahead in fighters and you're ahead in your production, then spam more attack units. If you're behind in economy, behind in fighters, behind in production, spam more fighters and just build a fighter wall. And that's really the key to playing air, is an ebb and flow between when should I attack and when should I just focus defense completely. And that's going to be the key to winning games as air. And keep in mind, you have to watch your whole battlefield. You're in charge of everything early on, especially. So just, you know, have good awareness, have good coverage, and try to shut down any bombing runs you see, shut down any early pushes that you see, whether that is with Banshees or with a decent amount of shuriken, whatever it may be. Just look for opportunity. Anyway, you're gonna see here, these guys end up crushing my push. Take a couple shots, and then I decide to go full send. Going full send, and the anti-air is just insane how thick it is, and I just can't get much off. Still shut down the build power, but man alive, that was effective. An effective amount of anti-air, absolutely shredding me. Anyway, we're gonna call it there, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you guys on the battlefield.